Welcome to the 1% Rule Secrets to Wealth. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a strategy that could change your life. Most people believe wealth comes from big breaks, winning the lottery, finding the perfect investment, or striking gold overnight. But the truth is, lasting success comes from small, consistent actions that compound over time. That's the power of the 1% rule. If you improve by just 1% every day, you don't end up a little better. You end up 37 times better by the end of the year. Wealth isn't about luck or shortcuts. It's about habits, discipline, and the compounding effect of small steps repeated daily. In this series, I'll show you how to apply the 1% rule to your money, your habits, your career, and your mindset so you can build real, lasting wealth, starting today with just one small step. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because they're chasing instant results, but the wealthy know the secret is patience, discipline, and compounding. Think about it. Saving a small amount every month may not feel life-changing today, but over years, it turns into financial freedom. Learning a little each day may not seem like much, but over time, it gives you an edge that most people will never catch up to. The 1% rule is not about massive overnight change. It's about small daily actions that stack up into extraordinary success. So as we go deeper, remember this. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to do something and keep doing it. Most people start their journey to wealth by looking for shortcuts, quick wins, or miracle opportunities. But the truth is, wealth is never built that way. Wealth is built through consistency, through showing up every single day, and through making small, smart choices that add up over time. This is the heart of the 1% rule. It's not about being perfect, and it's not about transforming your life overnight. It's about progress, tiny bits of progress, repeated again and again until the results are undeniable. If you take just one small step forward today and repeat it tomorrow, and then the next day, before you know it, you've built momentum that compounds far beyond what you thought possible. Think about the math. If you improve by just 1% each day, at the end of the year, you are not simply 365% better. You are 37 times better. That's the power of compounding. It's the same principle that makes money grow when invested wisely. And it's the same principle that makes habits turn into a lifestyle. The small things, done consistently, create massive results. Most people miss this because our brains are wired for instant gratification. We want results right away. We go to the gym once and expect to see muscles the next morning. We save a little money and get frustrated when it doesn't feel like much. But the truth is, the big results only come from sticking with the small actions long enough to let compounding do its work. That's why so few people ever achieve lasting wealth. They quit too soon. They get distracted. They underestimate the incredible power of the 1% rule. Now imagine applying this to your finances. Saving a small percentage of your income may not feel like it matters today, but give it 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, and suddenly you're financially free while everyone else is still struggling. Imagine applying it to your skills. Reading 10 pages of a book each day doesn't feel like much, but over time you've read hundreds of books, gained knowledge most people never touch, and created opportunities that change your life. Imagine applying it to your health. One small change in your diet, one short walk each day, and suddenly you've transformed your body, your energy, and your confidence. That's why the 1% rule is so powerful. It applies everywhere: money, health, career, relationships, mindset. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. You don't need to chase perfection. You only need to commit to progress. Just 1% better every single day. And if you stay consistent, the compounding effect will take care of the rest. So as we continue, remember this: greatness is not built in one giant leap. Wealth is not created overnight. Success comes from the small choices, repeated over time, that no one else notices. That's the secret. That's the 1% rule. And it starts right now with you taking one small step today. People often ask what separates the wealthy from everyone else. And the answer isn't luck, genius, or some secret opportunity that only a few people know about. The real difference is consistency. The wealthy understand that success is built on small, repeatable actions that compound over time. This is the foundation of the 1% rule. If you get just a little bit better each day, even if it feels insignificant in the moment, you create momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. Think of it this way. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week, but they underestimate what they can achieve in a year or a decade. 1% better doesn't feel like much when you're in the middle of it, but when you look back after a long stretch of time, the difference is enormous. That's the power of compounding. It doesn't just apply to money, it applies to habits, skills, relationships, and even your mindset. When it comes to wealth, compounding is everything. If you save and invest a small amount consistently, you let time and compound growth do the heavy lifting. What looks small today grows into something extraordinary tomorrow. On the other hand, when you neglect small actions, you don't just stay the same, you fall behind. Money that isn't saved is money that can't grow. Skills that aren't practiced are skills that stagnate. Opportunities that aren't pursued are opportunities lost forever. The 1% rule flips this around and puts you in control. It asks you a simple question. What's the one small step you can take today to move closer to your goals? Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes. Maybe it's saving a few dollars. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've been meaning to connect with. None of these things will change your life instantly, but repeated daily, they will change your life completely. The truth is, wealth is built quietly. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic. It doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens when you make the decision every single day to get just a little bit better. Over time, those decisions compound into habits. Habits compound into results, and results compound into wealth. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like your goals are too far away, remember this. You don't need to leap forward all at once. You just need to take one small step and repeat it tomorrow, and then the next day. The 1% rule guarantees that if you stay consistent, success is inevitable. Wealth isn't about luck. It isn't about massive talent. It's about compounding the right actions day after day until the results become impossible to ignore. Success is never the result of one giant leap. It's the outcome of countless small steps that build on each other over time. The 1% rule is about recognizing that if you can improve just a little bit each day, the long-term effect will be life-changing. Imagine improving 1% each day for an entire year. You don't just end up slightly better, you end up 37 times better. That is the force of compounding in action, and it is the same principle that drives wealth creation, personal growth, and success in every area of life. Most people chase quick wins and instant gratification. They want wealth now, results now, success now. But the people who actually achieve lasting wealth understand patience, discipline, and consistency. They know that small improvements practiced every day compound into extraordinary results. Saving a small amount may not feel like much, but over decades it can turn into financial freedom. Reading a few pages of a book daily may seem insignificant, but years later it turns you into an expert. Going for a short walk every day doesn't feel dramatic, but eventually it transforms your health and energy. The difference between those who build wealth and those who don't often comes down to this simple truth. The wealthy stick with the process long enough to let compounding work its magic. The average person quits too soon. They don't see results fast enough, so they stop. And by stopping, they cut themselves off from the incredible payoff that only comes with time. The 1% rule isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. It asks you to focus on progress, not perfection. It challenges you to be consistent, even when results are invisible. And it reminds you that every choice matters, because every choice compounds. You don't need to change your entire life in one day. You only need to change a little bit, and then repeat it tomorrow, and then again the next day. Wealth, success, and freedom aren't accidents. They're built through deliberate choices that seem small in the moment, but add up to massive change. When you start thinking in terms of the 1% rule, you stop underestimating the power of small actions. You begin to see that the secret isn't doing everything at once, it's doing something consistently. That's the real path to lasting wealth. It's not luck, it's not chance. It's not a secret reserved for a few. It's the simple, repeatable power of compounding applied to your life every single day. So if you're ready to change your future, don't look for the big leap. Look for the small step. Then take it and never stop taking it. That is the 1% rule, and it will change everything. Wealth is not built on luck, it is built on choices. Every dollar saved, every skill learned, every relationship nurtured becomes a seed planted for the future. The challenge is that most people ignore these small opportunities because they don't see immediate results. They want big wins right now, and when those wins don't come, they give up. The wealthy think differently. They know that the real secret to wealth is the 1% rule, the discipline of making small, consistent improvements every single day. Over time, these improvements multiply into something extraordinary. Think about the power of money. If you invest even a small amount regularly, it doesn't just sit there. It grows, it compounds, and eventually it works harder for you than you work for it. That is how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth. Not by gambling on one big opportunity, but by stacking small gains day after day until the results become undeniable. The same principle applies to your health, your career, and your mindset. 1% better each day is invisible at first, but unstoppable in the long run. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it removes the pressure to be perfect. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one day. You don't need to have all the answers or make massive changes overnight. All you need to do is ask yourself, what is one small step I can take today to get closer to my goal? Then take that step, repeat it tomorrow, and let time do the rest. The results will come if you stay consistent. This is why so many people fail to achieve lasting success. They overestimate what they can achieve in a short burst of effort, and they underestimate what they can achieve with steady, incremental progress. They chase quick fixes, they quit when it gets hard, and they never give compounding a chance to work in their favor. But when you commit to the 1% rule, you separate yourself from the majority. You become the kind of person who moves forward no matter how small the step, and that consistency creates an edge that compounds every single day. Wealth, freedom, and success are not built in sudden explosions. They are built in quiet, steady, persistent effort. The world may not notice the small steps you take today, but over time, those steps will transform your life. This is the path the wealthy walk, and it is a path you can walk too. The 1% rule is not about doing everything. It is about doing something consistently and trusting that the small things matter. Because in the end, they are the only things that do. Every great achievement in history has been built on small, steady steps that compounded over time. Wealth works the same way. People imagine that success comes from luck or sudden opportunity. But the truth is, fortune favors the consistent. The 1% rule is the principle that if you improve just 1% each day, those tiny improvements stack up until they create massive, life-changing results. At first, the difference is invisible, but over weeks, months, and years, the compounding effect transforms everything. Think about it in numbers. 1% better today doesn't look like much. Tomorrow, it still looks small. But after a year of compounding, 1% daily growth makes you 37 times better than when you started. That is exponential growth. That is the force that wealthy people rely on, while everyone else overlooks it, because they are too focused on instant gratification. The wealthy don't waste time chasing shortcuts or waiting for miracles. They build systems. They save a percentage of every paycheck. They invest consistently. They learn daily, and they nurture relationships. Each action on its own looks ordinary, but repeated for years, the results appear extraordinary. Small actions are easy to ignore, but they are also easy to do. That is what makes the 1% rule so powerful. Anyone can do it, but only a few stay consistent long enough to see the rewards. The secret is patience. Compounding takes time, and that is why most people quit too soon. They save a little, then stop. They try a new habit, then give up when they don't see instant progress. They underestimate how much can change when they simply keep going. Success is not about intensity, it is about consistency. The 1% rule teaches you to focus less on the outcome and more on the process, to trust that the results will come if you don't stop. Wealth is built quietly, through habits repeated when no one is watching. It is not glamorous, it is not dramatic, but it is incredibly powerful. The 1% rule applies to money, health, skills, and even mindset. Read a few pages a day, and years later you are an expert. Save a small amount consistently, and decades later you are financially free. Practice gratitude daily, And over time, you reshape your entire outlook on life. So the question is simple. What is your 1% today? What is the small step you can take right now that will move you closer to your goal? Take that step and then repeat it tomorrow and then again the next day. The small things matter more than you realize. They are the seeds of your future wealth, your future freedom, and your future success. This is the 1% rule, and it will change everything if you let it. Wealth is not a mystery. It is a process. The people who achieve it are not always the smartest or the luckiest, but they are the most consistent. They understand the 1% rule, the principle that small, steady improvements create extraordinary results when given time to compound. 1% better each day may not feel like much in the moment, but it builds momentum. Over a year, that 1% compounds into becoming 37 times better. Over a decade, the growth is beyond imagination. This is how wealth is built, quietly, patiently, and deliberately. The problem is that most people are trapped by the desire for quick results. They want instant success, instant money, instant recognition. They go to the gym once and quit when they don't see change. They save a little money and stop when it doesn't feel like enough. They jump from one opportunity to the next, always chasing the big win, never committing long enough for compounding to do its work. The wealthy take the opposite approach. They plant seeds, water them daily, and allow time to multiply their efforts. Consider the power of saving and investing. Putting aside a small portion of your income may seem insignificant, but as the years pass, those savings grow. Interest earns interest, investments produce returns, and eventually the money works harder than you do. This is the same principle in every area of life. Read a little every day and knowledge compounds. Practice a skill daily and expertise compounds. Build relationships consistently and opportunities compound. The 1% rule is not limited to money, it is the foundation of all lasting success. The key is consistency. 1% progress requires discipline, patience, and trust in the process. It means showing up even when results are invisible. It means resisting the temptation to quit when it feels slow. It means focusing on what you can do today, knowing that the payoff will come tomorrow. Wealth is not built in a single moment. It is built in thousands of small, almost invisible decisions that add up over time. This is why the 1% rule matters so much. It shifts your perspective from short-term gratification to long-term transformation. It teaches you that you don't need giant leaps to change your life. You need small, repeatable steps. You don't need to know everything or do everything. You just need to do something and keep doing it. That is how habits are formed, how discipline is created, and how wealth is built. So ask yourself, what is your 1% today? What is the small step you can take right now that moves you forward? It might feel tiny, but over time it will change your future. Wealth, success, and freedom are the rewards of consistency. The 1% rule is the path, and the best time to begin walking it is today. Every person dreams of wealth, freedom, and success, but very few understand the real secret to achieving it. It is not luck, it is not sudden opportunity, and it is not about doing everything at once. The truth is simple. Wealth is built through small, consistent actions that compound over time. This is the 1% rule. If you can get just 1% better each day, the results may seem invisible at first, but in the long run they become extraordinary. After 1 year, those small daily improvements make you 37 times better than when you started. That is the power of compounding, and it is the same principle that drives financial growth, personal development, and success in every area of life. The challenge is that most people underestimate the value of small steps. They want instant results, so they quit too soon. They save a little money, but when it doesn't grow overnight, they stop. They go to the gym once or twice, but when they don't see immediate change, they give up. They chase quick fixes and shortcuts, never realizing that the true path to wealth lies in steady progress. The wealthy understand that consistency beats intensity and patience beats impatience. They know that if you keep stacking small wins, eventually the results will take care of themselves. Think about saving and investing. If you set aside just a small portion of your income every month, it may not feel like much at first. But as the years pass, the money compounds. Your savings earn interest, your investments grow, and eventually your wealth multiplies beyond what you imagined. The same is true for knowledge. Reading just a few pages of a book daily may not feel powerful, but after years, you have absorbed hundreds of books, built expertise, and gained an advantage that most people never achieve. Skills work the same way. Practice a little every day, and you quietly master abilities that others only dream about. The 1% rule applies everywhere. In health, 1% improvements in diet or exercise lead to energy, strength, and longevity. In relationships, small daily acts of kindness and connection build trust and love. In business and career, steady growth in skills and effort creates opportunities and advancement. The formula never changes. Small actions repeated consistently equal extraordinary results. So the question is not whether the 1% rule works, because it always does. The question is whether you will commit to it. Will you take the small step today and tomorrow and the day after that? Will you trust the process even when results are invisible? If you do, your life will transform. Wealth, success, and freedom are not built overnight. They are built daily, 1% at a time. Wealth is often seen as something distant, something reserved for the lucky few or the naturally gifted, but the reality is far simpler. Wealth is built by those who understand the quiet power of small, consistent actions. This is the 1% rule. The principle that if you improve just 1% each day, those tiny gains compound into massive transformation. At first, the change is invisible. You save a little money, you learn a little skill, you make a small adjustment in your habits, and nothing seems different. But over time, those small steps multiply until they create results so big that they look like magic to everyone else. The secret is compounding. 1% progress today doesn't just add to tomorrow, it multiplies into the next day and the next until the growth is exponential. By the end of 1 year, 1% daily growth makes you 37 times better than when you started. That is why the wealthy think in decades, not in days. They know that time is the greatest ally of compounding, and consistency is the engine that drives it forward. Most people never see this truth because they are distracted by instant gratification. They want big results now, so they chase shortcuts, quick wins, or miracle opportunities. When the results don't come fast enough, they give up. They don't realize that by quitting, they cut themselves off from the rewards that only patience can deliver. The wealthy, on the other hand, stay the course. They save and invest regularly. They keep learning. They improve themselves step by step, and they allow time to multiply their efforts. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it doesn't demand perfection. You don't need to change your life overnight. You don't need to be flawless or do everything at once. All you need is a small step forward each day. Read a few pages of a book, and over time you become knowledgeable. Save a small portion of your income, and over time you become financially free. Take one small action toward your goals, and over time you achieve things that once felt impossible. Wealth, success, and freedom are not created by chance. They are created by the deliberate choice to keep improving, even when no one is watching, even when the results are still hidden. The 1% rule is a reminder that greatness comes not from giant leaps, but from small steps, taken consistently. So if you want to transform your future, stop waiting for the big break. Start with the small action you can take today. Repeat it tomorrow, and let compounding take care of the rest. This is the path to lasting wealth, and it begins with just 1%. Success does not happen overnight. It happens gradually, almost invisibly, and then suddenly all at once. The 1% rule explains why. If you improve by just 1% each day, you create a compounding effect that multiplies your progress far beyond what seems possible. 1% may feel small, but over time, it transforms into massive growth. At the end of a year, 1% daily improvement doesn't leave you slightly better. It makes you 37 times better. That is the hidden force behind wealth, health, and success. Most people overlook this because they want quick results. They want to see big changes immediately, and when that doesn't happen, they give up. They save a little, but stop when it doesn't feel like enough. They start a habit, but quit when they don't see instant results. The wealthy understand that it is not about instant gratification. It is about compounding. They know that time rewards those who are consistent, and punishes those who give up too soon. Think about saving and investing. If you put away a small portion of your income every month, it may feel insignificant at first, but as the years pass, the growth accelerates. Interest earns interest, investments produce returns, and suddenly your money works harder than you do. This is the same principle in every part of life. Read for 10 minutes a day, and after years, you've absorbed more knowledge than most people gain in a lifetime. Practice a skill daily, and you quietly build mastery, while others stay stuck. Small actions are the building blocks of extraordinary results. The 1% rule removes the pressure to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to leap forward in one dramatic move. All you need to do is ask yourself, what small step can I take today that moves me forward? Then take that step, repeat it tomorrow, and trust that the results will come. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. A little done every day beats a lot done once in a while. Wealth is not built on chance, it is built on choices. Success is not a single event, it is the result of habits repeated over time. The 1% rule teaches you that every action matters, no matter how small, because every action compounds. Over time, these small steps create habits. Habits create results, and results create wealth. So stop waiting for the perfect moment or the big breakthrough. Start with 1% today. Save a little, learn a little, improve a little. Trust the process, stay consistent, and let time and compounding do the work. The small things matter because they are the only things that build the big results. This is the 1% rule, and it can change everything. Wealth is not about sudden windfalls or overnight success. It is about steady progress and the power of compounding. The 1% rule is simple, but life-changing. If you get just 1% better each day, it may not feel like much in the moment. But over time, the growth becomes extraordinary. By the end of a year, you are not a little better, you are 37 times better. That is the force of small, consistent actions compounded daily. This principle applies to money, to skills, to health, and to every area of life where growth matters. The reason most people fail to achieve wealth is because they underestimate the value of small steps. They are addicted to instant gratification. They want big results now, and when progress feels slow, they quit. They start saving, but stop when the numbers don't move fast enough. They begin new habits, but abandon them when they don't see immediate change. They chase shortcuts and miracle opportunities, but they never stick with anything long enough to let compounding work. The wealthy take the opposite approach. They understand that small, consistent improvements build momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. Take money as an example. Saving and investing a little each month may feel like nothing in the beginning, but give it years and the results are undeniable. Interest earns interest, investments grow, and eventually wealth builds itself. Knowledge works the same way. Read a few pages daily, and over time you have read hundreds of books. Skills work the same way. Practice a little every day, and you build mastery that sets you apart. Relationships work the same way. Small, consistent acts of kindness and attention compound into trust and loyalty that last a lifetime. The 1% rule is powerful because it is simple and achievable. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. You don't need to be perfect or do everything at once. All you need to do is commit to progress, however small, and repeat it consistently. It is the small decisions that no one notices that eventually create the big results that everyone admires. The wealthy know this truth, and they live by it. So the question becomes, what is your 1% today? What small action can you take right now that moves you closer to your goal? It may be saving a few dollars. It may be reading a few pages. It may be practicing a skill. It may be reaching out to someone important. Whatever it is, take that step and then repeat it tomorrow and the day after. With time and consistency, those small steps will transform your life. Wealth, success, and freedom are not built overnight. They are built 1% at a time. The 1% rule is not just a concept. It is the roadmap to building wealth, success, and freedom. You don't have to transform your entire life in one dramatic leap. You only need to move forward by one small step each day. Over time, those steps compound into results that will surprise you and everyone around you. The people who succeed are not the ones waiting for luck. They are the ones who stay consistent, disciplined, and patient. So ask yourself right now, what is your 1% today? What is the action, however small, that will move you closer to your goal. Maybe it's setting aside a little money. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's building a relationship that matters. Take that step today, repeat it tomorrow, and let compounding do the work for you. If this message has given you value, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, wealth is not built overnight, it is built daily. Start with 1%, stay consistent, and watch your future transform.